Hi, welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me, John, on this Monday, the 9th of October. So we've got Kiwi as the strongest currency at the moment from a trend trader side of things. It's the second strongest on the day traders. So we're going to go take a look at a Euro Kiwi opportunity, Euro being a weaker currency. So quite like Euro Kiwi to the downside. Aussie Swiss is topping our day traders table, which is an interesting market to take a look at, especially from a higher time frame point of view. I quite like the idea of being bearish this market, so Aussie Swiss could be something to watch coming up this week. I will go take a look at some other pairs as well, but we're going to kick it off with Aussie Swiss. Why do I like the downside here? Well, I'm on this weekly chart and I can see that price came up into previous weekly lows, which were around about the 58.50 area, even up to the 5900. So it was more like a zone like this, where you can see these kind of touches back here on the 1st of May, as well as the sort of end of May, around about the 29th. We've got a trend line resistance coming through here, which is formed by the high on the 23rd of January and comes into contact with the high of the week of the 12th of June. That going down, we can see that we've got that sort of rejection in here now. So the weekly chart tried to close above it. It failed. It's now closed below it. Looking at potential for a continuation to the downside here. So I'm looking at the sort of daily chart. Daily chart shows that there was a bit of consolidation, and then obviously we've gapped down with a move higher. Now, this may be down to the sort of conflicts that we're seeing between Israel at the moment. So there is a potential here for that risk off sentiment to be in play, and obviously the Australian dollar doesn't usually perform well in those scenarios, and so there's a potential here for maybe for a bit of downside. Now we've got support here at 57.50. I'm actually just going to draw in a trend line from the low of the 17th of August and to the low of the 5th of September. The reason why I'm doing that is because it kind of adds confluence to this sort of area down through here, which could be our sort of target that we try and look for on a potential move. Now, looking at the 4 hour, like I said previously, we had a consolidation. Price has broken out of the consolidation. We're pulling back towards the consolidation. Now, we do have a psychological number running through that area. It's the 5800 level, which could be the level to watch out for a potential opportunity. So if I go to the hourly chart now, let me actually just, sorry guys, let me just do something here in the background so you can see what chart I'm on. So Aussie Swiss 1 hour time frame. You can see that we've got that consolidation there. We've broken down the 50 MAs around about the 5800 as well. Stochastic is on the sort of short side of things rather than being up towards the 80. It's more down towards the 20. So what I would like to really see is potentially a move up to 5800. I think if we get a move up to 5800 and a retest, I'll be looking to short below that. Maybe 57.90 will be the sort of play to look for, with a move down into 57.50. Stop losses can be a little bit tighter on a type of move like that, because what I'm almost trying to predict is that if we get to 5800, price is then going to continue to the downside. What I don't want to try and do is short that level immediately, because price may want to seek higher prices. The reason I say that is because you can see that it's a bit of a range through that area. So the highs around about 58.30, and these lows where price is kind of trapped in now. So that's the only reason why I say that I don't really want to get short at 5800, because that brings us within the zone, which means that price could potentially trade to the other side of the zone, reject it in here, and then potentially push to the downside and then continue on. Obviously, I don't want to be in the move if it does that, because I want to see price come and reject these lows in here and continue to press to the downside. So what I'm trying to say is, what we'll do is we'll set an alert here at 5800. It's very much like how we looked at the move on Kiwi CAD. If we get the retest in at that 5800 area, I will place a sell stop order at 57. We probably don't need to go as aggressive as 57.90, But what you see that does, it gives us the opportunity then that if price spikes into that level and it tries to pull back and doesn't trigger and then heads higher, then we may not get triggered into the move. I want to trade with the momentum of the potential market there. So I would look for a retest of 5800. If we get 5800, I'll be happy short 5790. Target's going to be 57.50, potentially 57.40, but I quite like 57.50. Stop losses at that point, 30 pips is probably okay. You may get away with a sort of a tighter one, maybe even a 20-25 pip stop loss. Aussie Swiss is a relatively low ranging pair, so you don't typically get huge moves on the day. But Aussie Swiss, you know, that's a potential there. Wait for the retest, then place your sell stop order, then look for your continuation to the downside. Very similar to what we kind of looked at on Kiwi CAD. What we discussed on Kiwi CAD was price coming into this zone in particular, which was around about the 81.30. We talked about getting long at 81.50, which turns out to be a nice little bullish reaction. Sorry, let me just put this back on there as 0 spot 81.50 in here, which turned out to give us a bullish reaction. Now, we were very, very close to full targets. We were looking at 8200 for full targets, and it came to 81.96, so we were 4 pips away from full targets, which was unfortunate. But I'm going to leave this one, see if we can get that push up into the upside there. The only kind of downside to this market is, again, Kiwi is a little bit of a sort of affected by the sort of risk in the markets, and if the risk is going to go off, Kiwi could move to the downside. But we also have CAD on the other side of that, so we've got 2 risk currencies together, so we shouldn't be affected too much by that. So I still quite like the idea of it hitting that 8200 level. Let's go on to Euro Kiwi. I've set an alert for 76.90 or 177, very similar to what I'm looking to do on the other markets. Now, I quite like Euro Kiwi. If we go to the daily chart, you can see that we're obviously in that bearish trend. We tried to come back to the upside at 1.0780 sort of one, so we've rejected back to the downside here. Now, price has come into the low today. It's starting to give us a little bit of a rejection back to the upside. But from a daily chart point of view, the sort of swing low was down here at the 1.7156. The next sort of low is down here at 1.7450. And the low below that is 7180. So there's quite a large potential here for a move to the upside, move to the downside, if we're able to catch a decent move here. Again, going down to the 4-hour time frame, you can see it in a little bit more detail. We're almost starting to break down a bit here. You can see we were like trading back to the upside in an upward trend. We've come back down. We've almost created like a head and shoulders pattern, but ultimately we drove lower, we consolidated, we're driving lower again. Maybe we're going to see a retest of that consolidation before a move down. Now, stop loss at 177.50 may seem a little bit tight, but if we look at the daily chart, that would be a break of this daily candle high, which formed on Friday. I think if price breaks that high, we don't want to be in this position anyway, because it's more likely to head back to 178.20, sorry, and then potentially back up to 179.70 for a retest of this kind of trend line resistance. So I don't think we want to be involved in that case, because price would just go way against us, and our stop loss would have to be way above the highs. What I would like to do is see price retest, reject, so we can get first sort of profits off at 175.60, and then if it drives lower, you got 175, 174.50 as the next point of interest. Looking at that from an hourly point of view, again, well, I'm interested in that consolidation, breakout, potential for a retest, continuation. So not interested in sort of a direct short. I'm going to just put that back to sort of that 168.90 area. What I'm going to wait for again is, can price come trigger our alert? Once it's triggered our alert, what do we do next? The next plan is to then look to sell the market, right? So I want to place a sell stop order again. So I'm just kind of bracketing my sell stop order instead of trying to get in at the level and get in terms of, you know, potentially losing out from that move. I'm looking at the potential for price to go with the momentum of the market then. So if I'm looking at for an alert at 76.85, you know, I'm happy to look at an entry price around about 76, sort of like 10 pips away. So 76.75 would be okay. Let me just grab that back again. I don't know whether that did that. 76.75 and click OK. That does look a little bit tight, actually. I think I'm going to go 170. Let's go 65. Give it a sort of 20 pip gap. And then I'm going to look to target, obviously, down in here. Stop loss, like I said, you don't want to be too aggressive, but I reckon if we could get away with like a 90 pip stop loss, you can see these sort of highs in here. That would be something of interest maybe for the market. But ultimately, my target would be more down towards this 174.50 handle, which gives us a good reward to sort of risk ratio. So an alert's going to be popped on there as well to see if we can get anything out of that market. So yeah, like I said, we've got Kiwi CAD in, Kiwi looking good, maybe Kiwi Oz. I know we've got risk against risk again, but Kiwi Oz or Aussie Kiwi could be one to watch out for. I haven't looked at this chart actually for a very long time, so this may not be something that we look at. Where is Aussie Kiwi? It's not a chart I frequent that often, so I don't really look into it too. I mean, yeah, I don't even know there's any analysis on here on TradingView. I mean, can this market trend? Absolutely. You know, you can see this is a daily chart, so there are big moves in this market in particular. The fact that we're coming up to an area of interest would be something I'm interested in. You know, we're not too far away from this 1.06 support level, so that is obviously an area that makes me think, well, is that going to be tested? Obviously, there was strong buying coming back here from the 24th of May. So is that going to be tested? If so, could we look at an opportunity in here? 4 hour, we've got a nice sort of like trend line going on through there. I can see that hourly gives us a little bit more information. Yeah, you can kind of see the trend here, can't you? That sort of downward move developing in the markets. Maybe something around here, something around that area. Just from eyes, I'm just kind of giving this a little bit of a sort of once over, just thinking, you know, there was obviously selling pressure there in the past. Will selling pressure be there again? Essentially something like this. Not at the top of my list, to be honest, Aussie Kiwi. I will just put an alert there. I'm not going to say I'm going to look to get involved in this one, but I will put that there. I'm going to move actually Aussie Kiwi up with my Aussie pairs up here, just to kind of give us an opportunity if it does arise. But I think the sort of best plays are either sort of looking for Aussie Swiss downside here, wait to see if we get a rejection, look to sell, stop the move, or even potentially Euro Kiwi, a little rally up, rejection, look to sell, stop with momentum. So those two are the really ones that I'm kind of focusing on going into today's session. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you in the next video.